Hey everyone, it's Annette with ASCardDesign. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm really glad you're here today. I'm going to show you how to do a real simple card using a layering stencil, just a couple shades of inks, and I'm going to show you a couple tips and maybe share a trick here or two that you can easily replicate at home. So let's switch down to the tabletop and get started. I want to show you the inks I'm using are just two shades, gray and orange or tangerine. The grays, these are all Gina K inks. The grays are slate and soft stone. The soft stone is the lighter shade and the slate is the darker shade of gray. And then we have sweet mango as the lighter shade of orange and tangerine twist as the more vibrant. And I want to share with you, sometimes when I'm sitting down at my craft table to make a card, the ink color or what colors to use is kind of a stumbling block, or it can be a stumbling block for me, and I'm gonna maybe guess many of you or some of you. So you can draw inspiration from so many things. Nature, your clothes. This actually happened to come about from inspiration. I was watching television and there was a man with a suit on, and the suit was kind of this dark gray, like a charcoal gray, and he had a tie on that was like a tangerine color, and I just thought it was a really nice color combination and I really liked it. So I'm like, I think I have those colors in my stash. So that's how this came about. So that's what we're gonna use as far as inks. And then I pulled out of my stash this layering stencil, and you can use any layering stencil that you have. And this is from GinaKDesigns, and it's Modern Hydrangea, and it's a 3-part layering stencil. So the reason why I chose this for our project today is because the first two stencils are the flowers. So I'm going to use the orange. So they'll have the light color first, and then we'll do the darker with a highlight. And the third layer is the leaves, and instead of using green, this is where the gray is going to come in, and you don't even need to use two shades, and it's okay to like make your layers and colors that maybe you wouldn't see in nature. So I'm using gray for the leaves, and if I only had one color, like let's say I just was going to use the light, I would put the light color down first, and then I would go back and put another layer to darken just certain spots to give it a highlight effect or a dimension. But I am going to use both of these inks. And then I'm going to show you a trick later with this color because I wanted to mat this card with cardstock that's this color, which I don't have in my stash. So I'm going to show you a trick on how to make your own colored cardstock with that. If you're a seasoned card crafter, you already know this tip, but you know, there's many new people to this hobby. I was a new person not long ago, so when I saw that tip, I thought that was really, really helpful. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our florals first. Let me bring in my ink stand. And now you can tape your cardstock to your work surface, but I'm going to bring in, this is just some parchment paper. And this is a grit mat from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm just going to stick that down onto my work surface. Now this is a glass mat, so it will adhere to that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit and bring this, bring this up so you can see it. But I want to make sure that when I lean in, my head is not going to be in the way. So let's bring it right about like that. So I'm going to stick that down. And then I'm going to take a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, and this is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and I have a stack of them just already pre-cut down to 4 1/4 by 5.5. So I just keep those at my desk here and grab them as I need them, because I go through these a lot. This is how all my panels start out, okay? Start out with that, so we'll just lay that down. And then we'll go ahead and look at our stencils. Now, these stencils in particular, they are etched in the bottom corner. I think you can see that there. And they're layered 1, 2, and 3. Of course, I don't have mine in order, so this one is 3. So I got 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just going to use them in that order. So this is number 1. And I'm just going to center this somewhere on the panel. And honestly, we're going to cut this out with a die. We're going to cut it down. So I'm just going to try to position it something like that. And some of it, especially with the leaves, some of that will get cut off. And that's okay. You do forfeit some of the image when you're doing that. I'm going to move this up a little bit so you can see. And then make sure that's down. Okay, let me get some of this stuff out of my way. All right, let's start. This is again the Sweet Mango. I really love these orange colors. I just recently started playing around with them, but yeah, I was inspired by a man's suit and tie, and here we are making a card. And I'm just spraying some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel just to wipe off some of this ink that was on my orange brush from a previous project. And the rubbing alcohol dries right away, so the bristles are nice and soft, as you can see. And then with our stencil over our cardstock, we're just going to pick up some ink and just blend it. I like to start at the bottom of the image and go in both directions. Okay. And these particular inks from Gina K, they will blend back dry back real smooth. So even if your blending isn't perfect, you don't have to, go for perfection here. Just get some color down, and you'll see in the end how it all works together. And just keep in mind, like many of the inks that we use do dry back smooth. So if you're not real thrilled with the result right away, just give it some time to dry and look at it again, and it will look really nice. All right, so that is layer 1 of the orange, and I'm just using a Cricut tool here, to spatula, just to pull my stencil up, because they really do stick to these grip mats. So there's layer 1. All right, and then I'm just going to set this aside. This will clean off easily with some rubbing alcohol. Just spray it, wipe it off with a paper towel, or run it under some water at the sink. All right, and so layer number 2, you just want to really make sure that that etching is down at the bottom left corner, and this is number 2. And then just take a moment to line this up. And right now you can see there's white lines. We're going to move it and shift it until those lines disappear. Okay, so I had to take my time and get that lined up, but there we are with layer number 2. And then we're going to bring in Tangerine Twist. And using the same blending brush, it's the same color family. We don't have to worry about it because it's a shade darker, so it'll show up just going right over this second layer. Just putting down the Tangerine Twist. This is a really beautiful color. And just make sure you go both ways so your the bristles hit the lines of that stencil in each direction. Okay? All right. So that's Tangerine Twist. And we'll just get this layer off. Look how pretty that is already. It kind of looks like candy corn right now, which is making me a little hungry. All right, so now we're going to take a smaller blending brush. We're done with the oranges. We're going to bring in the grays, the light gray first. And again, this is Soft Stone. And well, before I open it, let's get our stencil down. So this one lines up very easily on this particular stencil. We have a stem here, a stem here, and a stem here. So these 3 stems are just really easy to line up. And if you line up one, without it sticking, if you line up one and then just kind of shift your stencil around to the other 2 are in place, or actually there's 5 on here. But once you line up the first 2, the other ones fall in place real easily. And I'm not worried about this part of the stencil going off onto the mat because we're going to crop this and cut it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the first layer down. This is Soft Stone. And I'm just going to go with a light hand and just get this all over. And I'm okay if it has some white variations to it. That just adds a little interest. Doesn't have to be solid. And then go in both directions again. Okay, get that down. And then we have a second layer to put down because we want to make some highlighted areas. So we're going to leave the stencil in place. And we're going to bring in the slate. Alright, so that's this color. And for this, I'm just going to focus on these stems first and then just bring the color down. So I'm going to darken it and bring it down. I'm going to get it nice and vibrant and dark, and then just blend it down. And let it just hit some of the leaves. Just let it hit wherever it naturally will go with your hand. In the end, it's just all going to look good, you'll see. Get some of that dark color down here. Blend it down the stems. And I'm just really just making sure each leaf has a little bit of the dark color on it. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, then let's just reveal and see what we have. And that is just a beautiful, beautiful panel. And honestly, you could do this with just 2 of the inks. Just, you know, you could go in with the lighter, the sweet mango, and just put that on your first layer, and then the second layer go in with a heavier hand, more ink, and that will darken it. And the same thing with the soft stone. You could put it down first, then go back over with a little heavier hand and more ink. But there's our panel. Just any combination, like really just look at blues and greens. You know, those make really blue or violet flowers. That just make really pretty panels. So that's it. We're done with the inks. I'm just going to clean off my grit mat with a damp, tidy towel. And then that is ready to be stored again in my parchment. So let me lift that up and bring in my parchment paper. And this is nice because it does not stick to the grit mat and it keeps it clean. So I just store this in a drawer. And I'll put that away later. All right. Let's go on, let's set this aside and let's bring in our mini Misty. I want to do some stamping next. Come back in here. We're going to use this stamp set for the greeting, and this is Thoughtful Flowers from Gina K. And I'm going to do the Thinking of You. Okay, so let me just get that out. I use this stamp quite a bit. And I have a coordinating die, so I'm going to die cut that out here in a minute. So let's get the coordinating die out. And it is right here, so we'll set that aside. All right, so we've got a piece of scrap cardstock in here, and I'm going to just stamp it with Gina K's Black Onyx. Okay, right there. And we'll just, I'm not going to heat emboss this with embossing powder. I'm just going to stamp it a couple times and die cut it. Just do it one more time here. And I will have all the descriptions of every product I'm using, all the tools in the description below. I'll have everything listed, all the supplies, I guess I'm trying to say. So be sure to click on the more below the video and you'll see all that if you're interested. And if you're liking my videos, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and even subscribe if you haven't. I'm trying to grow this channel and I actually love having you here. So yeah, subscribe so you don't miss another video. I put a video up every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Those are scheduled, and then I go live on Wednesdays at 7, and those times are Eastern, and the lives are a lot of fun. So I interact in the chat, and so yeah, hit the subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Okay, so I think we're done with the Thinking of You. Go ahead and put that away. And we'll go ahead and die cut this out. And let me grab my die cut machine. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so you can see I'm bringing in my Sizzix die cutting and embossing machine, also known as the pasta machine from my brothers. We're Italian, and when they don't craft, obviously, but when they first saw me bring this out and hand crank it, they were making fun. It's like, this looks like a pasta maker, and it kind of does. We have I have one of those hand crank pasta makers. All right, so coordinating die from that stamp set right here, thinking of you, and I'm just going to line that up. It's very easy to line up. Let me push this or turn that this way, and I'm just kind of looking at this edge and this little tail of the G and just lining that up. And I am going to tape it down so it doesn't move. Tape it down really well because I have to turn this now this way. I don't want anything to move. All right. And then we'll run it through. Let me know what you think about these colors, or if you have suggestion of other colors or want to see me make another one, let me know. I'm happy to do that for you. Or if you have any other ideas, I'm always open to suggestions on if you want to see something in particular. If I can do it, I will. All right, so let's get this tape off. I am going to cut another one of the dies, just so I can glue it to the greeting, just to give it a little thickness, a little dimension. And I don't need to tape that down. I just want to run it through, and we'll glue it to the back of our greeting. This is a good time saver, or supply saver, I guess, money saver. Instead of using foam squares or dimensional foam tape, you can just use pieces of cardstock and cut out extra layers and just stack them. Just glue them together and build dimension that way. I do that quite a bit, actually. So that's what we're going to do. And let me get rid of some of this stuff. I am going to need, well, let's just go ahead and do this now. Let's cut our panel. So our beautiful panel, we're going to cut using, let me get some of this out of my way. Oh, my space is so small, so gotta keep it organized. So we're gonna use Master Layouts 14. We're gonna make this into a postage stamp or a postage die. And let's go ahead and get that out. I'll show you. I use this quite a bit. Let's see. It's all tangled up here. So what we're going to do is, and if you don't have this die, you just cut this down to whatever size panel you want to fit on top of your card. You don't need to have, you don't need to have all these things to make a beautiful card. And here I'm just going to position the die, wherever I want. So some of this is going to get cut off, and that's perfectly fine. I think I want my greeting to go down in this area, so I'll probably want a little more white space down here. So I think I'm going to make that my crop, and we'll go ahead and tape that down. Actually, before I tape it down, another tip is when you're running your dies through your machine, if you put them on a slight angle, they go through much easier because the tip is hitting the roller first instead of this whole bar, which puts a lot of stress on the rollers and makes it harder to crank through. So just a little tip there for those of you that are new to this. So let's put that there, and we'll run it through. And this is so cool. All right, let me show you. Take this tape off. And then here is the postage stamp. Now, not all the little dots came out with the die, and that happens. So what you just want to do is take a pokey tool of some sort and this is just a pick tool, and just poke them out. I'm gonna do this over my wastebasket because this will create a lot of little specks. And let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. Okay, so here's the panel. All the holes you can see through them now, and I just love this. Let me know what you think. I'm so curious to hear what you guys think of this, or if you've done it, let me know. Okay, so here's the other trick. Like I said earlier, I wanted to have a matte layer with this gray color, which I do not have. So I already cut out a white panel using the other die in the same die set, the Master Layouts 14. I used the large stitched die. That's the shadow or the matte layer die. And so I cut that out in white. And I'm just going to bring a piece of copy paper. And what I'm going to do is get the darker shade of the gray, the slate. Okay. So that's the color of cardstock I was kind of wanting. And I want to point out too, this panel has a stitched edge, and the ink pad, the stitches are depressed. They're sunken into the cardstock. So the ink pad shouldn't go in it, and those should remain white. But if they don't, it's okay. I don't mind if it's a little bit of a distressed look. So I'm just going to swipe my ink pad, right onto the paper. So ink to paper. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you can see. And we're just going to do the edges because the rest will be covered up. Actually, let's just do the whole thing. Let's do the whole thing. No, I've changed my mind again. Let's just do the edges. And I'm going to first just go around it and see if I like that look. All right, that kind of does look cool. I kind of like that. But here you can see, the white cardstock showing, and where I've inked, the dark is showing, and I kind of like the dark showing. So for me, I'm just gonna swipe this one more time. Okay, I just want that all to be dark. And then you can see, and I do like the white, and I like the distressed look. I'm just gonna leave that like that. Now if you don't like that, just go over it till it's solid, has solid coverage. Well, that's not gonna do. So now we're done with the ink. So all we have to do, when we can pop this up, I'm gonna just glue it flat, but I wanted to let you know, you can pop it up with foam squares, but off to the side, and I'm saving these for another project, but another great way to use up scraps is just for, next week when this will be filming after this, but in real time next week when I'm doing my live, I'm making one of these cards and I'm going to use these to pop up the panel. And what I've done is just, roughly measured these squares, and I just cut out scraps. So each one of these is 3 pieces of scrap just glued together. Okay. And I even have smaller ones for this section. So that's how I'll pop up the panel, but I'm not going to do that today because I am just going to glue this straight down. If I can find my glue, right here it is. So this is Gina K Connect glue. Let me zoom back out so you don't get dizzy here. And I'm just going to glue the back of this just where the squares are. Okay, and I also see another circle that needs poked out right here. You think you got them all, but sometimes one sneaks by. All right, and then I'm just going to kind of eyeball this and make sure the white stitching shows all the way around. Just like that, and just lay it down. And then while that's adhering, we are taking this greeting and gonna glue the extra shadow layer that we cut. Just put some glue on that. Wow, my tip got stuck underneath this, so I think I have a little bit of glue there. And these are very easy to line up. Just lay it down and then just walk your fingers around it and line up the edges. And you don't have to be very aggressive, just light taps. Just light taps there. And there you have it. So I need to grab a card base. I thought I had that, but I always forget that. Hang on. I have a card base, and this is 8.5 by 5.5 sheet of 110 pound white cardstock. And you can score it down the middle. Honestly, I find that when I score it, I don't know about you all, but when I score my bases and fold them over, the corners never meet up. And I always have to give it a little haircut. But when I fold it over this way, and I'm just taking a bone folder and creasing the edge, I don't find that it cracks, and it's just fine. So so you can make this. This is going to be a USA 2 side folding card, but you know, you can also make them this way to open this way, but you know, we didn't make that card to open that way, so we're going to open it this way. And let me just put a piece of tape inside so it lays flat so I can get this panel down. Now, even if you didn't pop this up, you can also pop the panel up. You can put foam tape here, or you could get some scrap pieces of cardstock and just glue it to the back. You know, that's a great way to use up your scraps. If you're a paper crafter, you have scraps. You just do. It's just part of it. It's who we are and what we do. All right, let's get our greeting down. And for this, I'm trying to find my reverse tweezers. Here they are. And then we're just going to get glue, a little bit of glue all the way around. And I'm just going to put this right down here, and I want the tail of the G to come off of the panel. I want it to just extend out of the boundary. I always like to do that. And there is the finished card. Isn't that pretty? My favorite part, aside from the color combination, is how we inked the matte layer. I love the white stitching that comes through. You can really see it up in this corner. I really like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, again, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe so we can join again. And I would love to have you subscribe to the channel. It also helps, it does help the algorithm put out these videos to people that might like to see it too. And you know, that's how I got started in card making. I saw a video. I've never made cards, and you know, you just never know who's out there that just might be looking for a hobby, or maybe as a shut-in and wants something to watch, and that might just spark a little hope, a little fun in their day, just something to watch or maybe even try. So thank you so much for watching, and I do hope to see you again. I do put the videos up, like I said earlier, every Wednesday. I do a live on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time are my scheduled videos. So until next time, have a great week, and I hope to see you again.